and I have another awesome guest here for you today, and his name is Gael Breton, and he is an expert in internet traffic marketing, generation, and content promotion, specifically for the purposes of helping people become an authority on the internet and in their internet presence. So this is really a beautiful fit for what we do here at Lead Generation. You know, when you're trying to establish your internet presence as a real estate agent or entrepreneur or small business owner, you have to have a solid, really attractive, and just perfect, if you will, presence on the internet, because people are going to Google search you, they're going to judge you by that presence that you have on social media, with your website, your blog, whatever the case may be. So if you're trying to find more people that are looking to buy or sell a house, or you're trying to find more customers and clients, you got to make sure that you have all your I's dotted and all your T's crossed. And I've brought a gentleman on here today who is an expert in that, and I found him on a blog article. I was searching for experts to do interviews with, and he was on a list of 18 experts in this specific arena of traffic generation and content promotion. So I had to reach out to him. It was a no-brainer to get him on here so he can really just kind of systematically break it down for us and show us how we start to begin to accomplish and achieve all these things that we need to set up to be successful with generating business in a internet traffic and lead generation context via the internet. So how's it going, sir? Gael, thanks for coming on today.
Hey, how's it going? It's going pretty well. It's the evening here. Had an amazing day already, so yeah, I'm really happy to be here.
Love it, love it. Amazing day. Awesome. Okay, so Gael, if you just want to kind of just give us a brief introduction about yourself. How did you become an expert and authority in internet marketing, you know, lead generation, traffic, conversion, and content promotion and things of that nature?
I think I've done what a lot of people in this market do when they get started, is they learn with other people's money. I.e., I was working for clients, I was working in agencies, etc. I've worked for a lot of big brands, a lot of small brands. So the big brands, you can quote things like Macy's. I've done ICO for them. You can quote Atari. You can quote 99 Designs. You can quote Flippa. There's a few big sites I've worked with, but I also worked with small sites. And one thing that I really saw is, like, when you're a big site, you know, you just need to push a piece of content online, and boom, you just get like thousands of visits, etc. And you don't need to do much about it. But when you're a small site and you publish a piece of content, well, nobody really cares. And that got me interested in the process of how do these big brands that didn't start big earn that attention from people. And that's basically also what kind of like appealed more to our entrepreneurial side with my business partners on, like, how do we build sites that, you know, mimic or get the same kind of stuff, but as a small business owner, I don't own a big brand like Macy's or something. But how can we do that on our scale? And that's basically how we started building our own sites. That, you know, were meant obviously to be businesses and make money, etc. But we knew that traffic equals money if you do it properly. So we needed to figure out how we get the attention and how you basically become an authority in sub-niches. And one of the first things we realized is, hey, you need to niche down and you need to kind of like, you know, be specialist at something rather than like talk about everything to be an authority. So that's basically how we started. Now we still have some clients running and we have a small team serving the clients. The agency used to be pretty big because before we had up to 35 people at some point. But now we reduced it quite a bit, and we're mostly focusing on growing our own sites and products.
Wow, awesome. Okay, so I was just on your website, authorityhacker.com, and I was just reviewing some of the awesome stuff that your business does for clients, and what I observed on there is specifically you help people strategically create content so they can be successful in their business. You help them promote it efficiently and ethically, which I thought was very important, because, you know, with these, a lot of, you know, Facebook and Google and YouTube, they all have, terms of service, and if you try to do something, if you're not playing nicely in the sandbox, so to speak, then you can get penalized, or your account can get shut down, or things of that nature. And I found it fascinating how what you do for people is maximizing engagement with this traffic, transforming the visitors that you get into fans, and then ultimately convert these fans into customers, and growing revenue while thrilling readers. So with all that being said, Gail, how does a person get started systematically, step by step, start to go out and accomplish all of that? What's the recipe to make all of this happen? For example, many of the people that are going to be watching and listening to this platform are real estate agents. So they are going to try to find someone on the internet that is looking to buy or sell a house. And if you were a real estate agent, how would you implement your strategies to try to find more people that are looking to buy or sell a house?
I mean, especially in the real estate market, it's like very, very, very competitive. And I work with some real estate clients all over the world. Actually, I've worked in Australia, I've worked in Turkey, Europe, in London, a little bit in the US as well, when the foreclosure market was really big. Yeah, one thing that's important is, well, everyone's trying to rank on Google, or pay for AdWords, etc. for buy a house in X city, buy a villa in X city, buy an apartment in X city. So basically, you can pretty much tell that it's going to be a bidding war, and eventually, even if you make the sale, you're probably not going to make much money because you have paid so much to acquire your leads, and that's probably not the way to go if you want to make a hefty profit. So I'm not just talking about making the sale, I'm talking about making the sale and actually having a profit after it, which is a whole different story. Because if you allow me to spend your commission on making the sale, then yeah, because I'm basically just burning myself, and it's just like a chicken game and see who's gonna burn the most money. Yeah, that's not gonna be very nice, even though if you're doing sales is always good. So what you want to do is probably one thing I would say is you need to specialize into something. So everyone is a real estate agent, but not many people are real estate agent of luxury villas or condos or like whatever, or even like an area of your city or that kind of stuff. Like kind of like niching down and getting to be known to be the guy that has the best places, or like that negotiates the best deals in this area, in this little niche. Because yeah, it's very hard to differentiate yourself if you're just offering the exact same service. So it starts from the product level. You need to change that. And then once you've decided that you want to focus on that, and that might be scary. It's very counterintuitive. And every time people are like starting sites or that kind of stuff, they're like, oh, but like if I make it broader, then I will get more clients, right? And so because of that, it means I will make more sales. Well, yeah, but you're also going to be competing with everyone else. So you need to divide the number of customers by the number of sellers, and that's basically how the market works. And really, attention online is money or talent and time. So you're either going to spend a lot of money or you're going to be very talented at what you do. So if you niche down, you might be reducing your market to maybe like 20% of what it was, but you're removing 80% of your competitors as well, right? Like even more. And so that's much easier to be the number one in that niche market than to be number one in your whole city. So that's the first thing I would focus on. Then second is trying to grab people before they Google buy a house. So like, as I said, these keywords are very competitive, and to be honest, they're very gray hat, black hat right now, and Google doesn't necessarily do a very, very good job at not ranking people that buy links for these terms. So like, let's be realistic. But what you can do is you can have content about the neighborhoods. You can have article that talks about like what is the best condo layout for a family of 4. That kind of stuff that people would be Googling when they're about to Google buy an apartment or buy a house. Or maybe like what is the best district in X city to live? What are the best schools? Because people buy their homes based on the schools around. That kind of stuff. Well, the traffic that goes to these pages is very likely to be looking into moving. I'm not saying everyone that Googles what's the best school is going to move, but I'm saying a lot of people that are looking to buy into a city or move city, they will look at schools when they have kids, for example. It's very common. And so if you're able to show up for that, which is like 100 times less competitive, right? You will be able to capture leads. And that's the kind of stuff you want to figure out. You want to talk to your customers and you want to be asking them what they care about when they buy. So like, why are you visiting this apartment? Oh, I'm visiting because there is the gym around the corner and there is, I really like high ceiling apartments, for example. Oh, really? So high ceiling apartments in city. Oh, that might be a nice little niche or like a thing I can make a page about, etc. So it's really about finding all these correlated things. And basically, if you create awesome content for these things, it's quite easy to show up in Google, and it's quite easy to get people to start talking about you. They're like, oh yeah, he's the guy that specializes in old style apartments with very high ceilings, etc. And then you can start creating content even about that type of apartment and earning links. And earning these links will help you rank slowly for more competitive terms that I said you should not target initially. So that's basically how you would want to do that. Obviously, it's a very broad vision, but that's what I would suggest to get started.
Okay, just to clarify a little bit, Gail. What does that mean exactly, earning links? Just because the people that are watching this, they may not be, internet marketing tech savvy, so to speak. So,
Sure.
Okay, so once the person concludes what niche they're going to specialize in, like for me, I specialize in commercial multifamily apartment buildings. So I'm not just a real estate agent. That's my target thing that I chose. So step 2 would be I should probably write, if I'm looking for maybe an investor that wants to invest in that type of an apartment building, I should write an article. And then how does that work with getting a link? Could you just kind of expand on that a little bit, just elaborate?
It's a little bit different. Basically what I meant is like when you niche down and you as I said, like old school apartments, for example, then you could start creating information about the historical apartment buildings in your city, right?
Yeah.
These would be non-commercial. They would be helpful, and someone that looks for information about the city would find this valuable.
Yeah.
Now, such a page could easily be referred to on Wikipedia in the history section of your city, right? If that was completely non-commercial, just helping out, and still kind of tied to your niche because you're about old school apartments, then you would be able to earn links, and these links are the primary factor that Google uses to rank websites on the internet. So if you were able to create niche-related, not like content that's here to basically grow the authority of your domain by having other sites linking to it, and it's related to your niche. So like it's very easy to link from all the historical apartment buildings back to the apartments you have in these buildings, and that's your listings, right? So like that makes sense, but there is a page in between that creates the link between Wikipedia, your city, and back to like ancient apartment buildings linking to the listings you have in these buildings. So you see how you can make a logical path, and that basically is a transition between listing. Like you cannot get links to a listing unless it's a real estate site. It's like something like that. But everyone will have these links. So if you want to stand out, you want to be a little bit smart and find out what is special about your niche and get links. For example, if you also made an index of all the schools, including private schools, that there is in your city, if you, for example, targeting family apartments and stuff like that, then getting a link from the city hall is very, very possible. And that will not only refer traffic to your website, which convert as well, but that's also going to increase your authority in the eyes of Google dramatically.
Okay, I like the Wikipedia strategy because another expert was talking about that a couple of interviews ago, and he's very high on Wikipedia. He said the same thing that you said, that it's very strong with respect to the authority in Google's eyes. Now, so what would happen there, just so I get this straight, Gail, is let's just say, for example, I write an article about an apartment building. Do I submit it to Wikipedia, or does someone else do that because they read it and they liked it? Or do I have to submit it into Wikipedia? Like, how does that work? How does it go into Wikipedia?
in an ideal world, you'd love someone to do that for you. It's probably never going to happen. So you're probably going to have to do it yourself.
Okay.
Once again, if you want to talk specifically about Wikipedia, do not just register an account and add a link to your website because it's going to get removed right away. So ideally, you want to have an account that has done a couple of useful edits, not just linking back to your site. And then you could link back. Otherwise, you can just try and find someone that has such an account and do it for you, you know?
All right. And then with, you mentioned something about the city hall or what have you. Let's just say it's maybe it's helpful tax information or something along those lines.
Exactly, like the local tax, like a local tax breakdown that's done better than on a city hall site for real estate. Like it's usually not very difficult. These sites are pretty terrible usually, and yeah, and you can be like, oh, don't worry, just link to my site, and people will have the information presented in a better way, and you start getting links from the city hall site. So you just need to figure out what your community needs. That's kind of tied to your target market because, like as I said about the schools, for example, it makes sense for families. And if you're trying to sell family apartments, you know, there's all that kind of like relevancy that Google passes between links as well. So if you're able to you know, obviously you need to stretch it a bit, but you can create relevant content that's useful that gets you the links that your competitors will never have the idea to ever get.
Right. So for just so we're clear on this, I love the strategies. I don't want to belabor it, but I just want to make sure that the people that are watching are really understanding and they can put into action what we're saying. So, for example, all right, let's just say today I write an article. It's about how to do a 1031 exchange if you want to. It's basically a way of kind of not paying taxes when you sell a building and then you want to buy one like immediately. You kind of you transition one into the other and you kind of avoid paying taxes at that point in time. I have yet to do one, but that's my understanding of it. Is it's called a 1031 exchange. So if I would go to some government website or something along those lines and say, okay, well, I'm going to write an article about how to do a 1031 exchange so that a person can save money on taxes. And now it's then at the end of that article that's on that government website or whatever that may be, or the city hall, town hall website or whatever.
In that case, it's debatable. Because obviously it's going to be based on politic visions. If the person that takes care of the website doesn't approve the fact that people shouldn't pay taxes, well, they probably won't link to you. However, you know, personal investment websites and that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
That they would absolutely link to that. So you just need to figure out who takes advantage of that. You know, sorry.
Oh, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I was just curious how when you say linking to me, that would be like on the city, the government website. That would them linking to me. What that actually means is my URL on their website. So that's how that is. That what that all means by getting a link?
So they kind of need to support the idea of what you're writing. And so if they think it shouldn't be that way, or there's whatever political view about that, etc., you know, despite the fact that the law is that way, your chances are very low.
Yeah, I was just trying to clarify on that whole what that meant. What you said 5 minutes ago about the getting links, like what that actually means.
It means people putting a link on their site back to your site, but that basically is an endorsement. They're telling their visitors to go check out your website, so they need to be very, very happy with what you're saying on your site.
Right. However, like you said, maybe different types of companies like biggerpockets.com or something like that, something it's not as political, it's more of like a privately owned, entrepreneurial friendly type of, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but something that's not like as political, I guess, where it would say, hey, if you want more information about buying apartment buildings, check out Chris Tracy's website.
Exactly.
And then I would get that link because they would.
Exactly, because and obviously you want the content to be extremely high quality. Like, you know, if you're just writing 300 words and just like putting it as a wall of text on your website, let's be honest, nobody's gonna care about it. Your site needs to look good. You need to like seriously hire an illustrator to actually make graphs and stuff like that, and like go beyond the text. Like maybe make a video on how to download the form on the website or whatever, or maybe even have it as a download on your website. Like go the extra mile, because if you're going to spend all that time trying to convince people to link to you, you might as well show them something they will actually want to link to.
Right. All right, so this is a good segue into the second bullet point that I found there about we're talking about promoting content efficiently and ethically, if you will. So I guess that's really what it comes down to, is just content marketing. Like you're saying, make a video that someone can actually use. Now, in terms of disseminating it and putting it out there, I guess trying to get your URL on as many credible related websites as possible so that you can get these links. Is it kind of like the more the better?
If Google traffic is your goal, yes.
All right. So that's a good question. I guess, I mean, for the purposes of having you on here today, you're an expert in specifically showing people how to be an authority. So I guess maybe if we just want to talk about that, and I guess if people would perceive it, if your website is the very first search engine result on Google, people would ultimately perceive you as an authority, pretty much, right? So
it depends on what they land, you know. I mean, if you land on a massively flashing page that says buy Viagra or whatever you want, probably not. So, and obviously I'm exaggerating here, but if your website looks like the 1990s, just don't bother. You need to invest in a new site, whatever your rankings are, because essentially what you're trying to do here is you're trying to make money, right? And the goal and the way to make money online is traffic multiplied by conversion rate. So there is the traffic on one side, but there's also the conversion rate, which is how many people like what they see enough to get in touch with you and eventually buy from you. And what your design and the quality of your content does, etc., is doing that. And by improving that, I've literally seen improvements by a magnitude of 10. So maybe like from 1% of people getting in touch to 10% of people. And that means that even with 5 times less traffic, so imagine that on one hand you have one real estate agent that gets 10,000 visits per month, but gets only 1% of people getting in touch with him, right? So he gets 100 leads per month. And on the other hand, you get someone with only 5,000 visits per month, so half, but the website is so good, 10% of people get in touch with him. He gets 500 leads per month. He makes 5 times more money with half the traffic. Right. And so that's why everyone is worried about traffic. But you know, the first thing I would do, if you have any traffic at all, if you have at least 2,000 visits per month on your site, which it depends, but it's not that much. It's not so hard to reach. From that point on, just like until you get a very high conversion rate, just work on that, because you can change that overnight. Your traffic, you can't,
Right. Okay. Let's just say you're a brand new real estate agent. You just got your website up and running. You have no visitors at all. You have zero traffic. Mm-hmm. What would be the top 3 promotion strategies you would get? Or what would you recommend for a person? I'd love to talk about the conversion thing in a minute, but like if we're just talking about someone who they don't even have 200 visitors, let alone 2,000, but okay, so they write an article, they do something like you said, a video about tax records or whatever, something that's really valuable that'll help people, whatever their niche is. Let's say, okay, I made this video and it's a tutorial on, saving money on your taxes when you buy a building or a 1031 exchange or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. And what 3 things are you seeing right now that are maximizing traffic to a person's video or website or
okay, I mean, content? Initially, the first thing I would do for sure is register my business in Google Local and actually verify it. Like, for sure. It's like, if you're not in Google Local, you cannot appear in Google Map. And most, like, local searches have the Google Map results, right? And still, like maybe like only like 1 business in 3 is registered on that. So you're already, weeding out two out of 3 competitors just by being there. Then the next thing to rank higher on Google Local is to get a bunch of local citations. So if you know websites like Yelp, etc., there are like a lot of these sites, hundreds, and you can actually buy these local citations done for you online. I think there's a website called BrightLocal.com where they basically do it for you. So you can just spend a few $100s and it's all done for you.
Can you spell that? It's
Let me just check again, 1 second, because
yeah.
I don't do it. Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, BrightLocal, Bright, like it's BrightLocal.com. So they sell local citation packages, etc. So that's what I would do for my local SEO. Basically, I would like make sure that my Google profile is like very well set up. It has all the categories. It has pictures and videos and everything basically you can put in there, because the more information you put on your Google Plus profile, the more it's complete and the more it's going to rank on Google. And as well, they verify it by sending you a postcard. So I would make sure I verify my business. It also is a ranking factor. And I would get a bunch of local citations. You can either buy them or you can, I do that, but it's a bit more advanced. I reverse engineer all my competitors. I find all their local citations and I get the same ones. And a local citation, to explain what it is, it's not a link actually. It's a mention of the name, address, and phone number of the business anywhere on the internet. And that's why these local directories are very powerful, because they mention all these things. And Google is actually using these the same way it uses links for normal rankings. And that's how it basically decides which businesses is going to rank first. It's not necessarily the smartest system, but that's the way the local system works right now.
Wow, that's awesome. I love that. Just to clarify now, I know that you're probably well aware of this over the past few years or so, all these panda, penguin, hummingbird updates, so on and so forth, where Google has caught on to, these people that they try to game the system and game, links. Now, this BrightLocal.com, that's white hat stuff, right? It's not
that's fine. Local citations are fine. It's basically listing your business onto a local directory. So
okay.
It's the same as listing your business on Yelp, except on smaller Yelps, like smaller sites. And you can select the ones you want. So I suggest you go through the list and you check the ones that are relevant to your business and make sure you register on these, and that's completely fine. That's absolutely not gray hat. Registering your business on local directories, Google has no say on that,
Okay, that's awesome. Great. All right, so it's not the same thing as buying links. They wouldn't.
No, because most of the links to your website from these sites are actually no-followed, and no-followed is basically a tag that you add to the link that tells Google, do not count this as a normal link. So do not give SEO benefits for the normal algorithm, not for the local algorithm. The local algorithm uses mostly local citations, so it's going to help, but it's not going to have the normal organic rankings, and that's why it's not seen as a gray hat service, if that makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I get it. I know it's kind of like a technical language or whatever, but long story short, you just want to be in the good graces of Google. And
yeah, you'll be fine. Yeah. You'll be fine with that. I mean, the thing is, when you get these, you also get the login and the password to the listing, so you actually have control over it. If you, for any reason ever, you wanted to take it down, you could,
Right.
So, but like, there is no reason to take it down.
Oh no! That's awesome. That's a great golden nugget, Gael. I've never heard of that BrightLocal.com service. We've all heard of Yelp and these different types of things are out there. But I think that a lot of people, especially real estate agents, time is of the essence, and they haven't quite figured out how to use all of this. That's really just can be quite overwhelming and time consuming. But these different types of services could be very helpful. What would you say, maybe just generally speaking, what would be a realistic expectation if someone, like I said, they're right at ground zero, they have no traffic, they have a brand new website, and they go out and they do what you said, they set up Google Local, they get the postcard, they get authorized by Google. and they check out this BrightLocal.com service. They get some local citations. They get their Google Plus profile up and running, optimized. What would be a realistic approximation as far as the number of visitors to a person's website? I mean, are we talking a few hundred or a few thousand, or how powerful are those three things alone right there? What can a person expect to see in, I don't know, maybe a month or
Well,
3 months maybe?
the first factor is how many people search. If you live in a tiny city, well, there's going to be a lot less people searching than New York City. So it doesn't matter how well you rank. It's also a factor of how many people search. So that can vary from a magnitude of 1 to 100. You know, like if you did well in New York City, you get 100 times to even 1,000 times more traffic than someone that lives in a small city. So giving a number from that point of view is very complicated. Obviously, SEO is very much a factor of time as well. And so, you know, you can be doing the right things today, but they really fully kick in only 6 to 8 months later, very often. It's that slow.
Yeah.
And so I would not necessarily have super high expectations initially, but what we see from our sites is that, you know, we do all this stuff. We literally launch sites in 3 days at this point for us, our sites. So we get everything done in 3 days, and then sometimes we let them sit for 6 months, 1 year even, before we touch them again. And we can see that, you know, initially they get 3-5 visits a day initially, and then 6 months later we have done absolutely nothing else, just done the stuff we've done in the initial few days, and let them sit, and they're getting 200 visits per day. You know, once again, it's a function of time and number of searches. What I can tell is that after doing these things, don't expect your traffic to just be amazing right away. It's not the case. What's going to happen is you'll probably see a very slow, gradual increase over the month. And the thing is, sometimes it's hard to see if you look at just the default view of your Google Analytics, because it only shows the last 30 days, right? So it's hard to have a broad view of what's happening, because maybe you see a trickle of increase of 3-4 visits per day, and you're like, yeah, that's kind of not really going anywhere. But when you zoom out and you look at the last 6 months, then you can kind of see there's a decent increase, and you maybe double or triple your traffic. But you know, for a small town, probably a couple hundred visits. For something that's big, and if you've done a lot of local citations, after 6 months, you could expect up to 5,000-6,000 visits per month, I guess. I mean, in real estate, it's not necessarily a very big search pool, so that's why I'm not giving you crazy traffic numbers, you know.
Right. No, I mean that sounds pretty good nonetheless. And that was Google Analytics, is what you just were talking about a minute ago.
Yeah. That's how you check your stats for your website, basically. It's a free service by Google.
Yeah. Okay, great. I think this is a good spot to transition into talking about conversion. I think if someone can kind of go out and just do those three things, what you said as far as traffic, I think that would be a good starting block. So let's say we get, you know, a significant amount of people to our website. How can we transform these visitors into fans, convert them into customers, and turn them into thrilling readers?
Yeah, I mean, as a real estate agent or in general?
Yeah, let's start with as a real estate agent.
Okay, as a real estate agent, it's a little bit, you know, there's not necessarily a very long cycle between people Googling and contacting you. And that's something you need to understand. You need to understand how long it takes for your visitor to make a buying decision, or at least to make a conversion decision. In the case of a real estate agent, you don't buy the house on the website. You get in touch with the person. And so you want to decide how long it takes. For renting, for example, it's going to be a very short cycle. For selling, well, they kind of browse around, and basically it depends on how nice your pictures are and how good your listings are. Now, the problem with most real estate agents is you get a tiny little contact form hidden on the contact page, and that's how you get in touch with them, right? Yeah, people don't go that far. So the trick is you need every single page to be able to convert for you. And there are several ways to do that. I mean, the first one is put your phone number in your header. Like, put a massive phone number in your header. That's probably the best one. You probably get more value if the person calls you than they email you. So because they're more engaged, they invest more in the relationship, and it's a sales thing. The more you invest in the relationship, the higher your conversion chances are. So putting your phone number in the header and make it click to call. Everyone is browsing the internet on their phone now. So yeah, make your website responsive. That's a good one too. Make your website work on mobile properly. And when people click on your phone number or tap it on their phone, it calls you in one click. They don't need to type it and copy paste it or read the image and then open the second app and kind of like change with their iPhone, because you cannot open two apps at the same time, and remember and switch back 3 times to the browser before they finish typing your number. There's no way people are going to do that. But if they can just tap on the screen and get to talk to you, that's much easier, right? So putting that in your header is probably a good idea. Then obviously for every single listing, having a contact form on the listing page is a really good idea as well. High definition pictures. I see so many horrible pictures on real estate agent site. This is how you choose on a place, and that's how you get excited about it. If you look at companies like Airbnb, right? They're pretty much the fastest growing real estate related in this company in the world right now. And they actually send professional photographers to every single person that lists their place on Airbnb if you just ask them. And the reason is because of the quality of the pictures. Now, another tactic I would probably recommend is exit intent pop-ups. So these are not pop-ups that pop up in a new window in your browser, etc., or under the browser. These are pop-ups that pop right on the browser and cannot be blocked by ad blocks, etc. And these pop-ups can pretty much display whatever you want. What I like doing is I like to offer something free, so maybe people were not engaged enough at this point to get in touch with you for a specific listing, but they're still looking, right? It's not because they didn't get in touch that they're not looking. So maybe, once again, it depends on your niche, but your area or something, but maybe like a guide to the best districts to rent in Seattle or wherever you are, that they can download for giving their email on exit. You probably capture a bunch of lists that you can then put onto an email autoresponder, which is automated emails that go to them with information. And for example, in that autoresponder, you could put all the new listings you have and put them directly in their inbox, which brings them back to your site and have them get in touch with you,
Interesting. Yes, good strategy. I always thought that the pop-up boxes were kind of annoying for people, but yeah, obviously you speak highly of them. You see that they're quite effective.
I mean, they might be annoying to you, but you're here to make money as a business, right? It's like, in the end of the day, you make more sales when you use them.
Okay, all right. I just wasn't familiar.
Some people may hate them, and that's okay. I don't put my email in very many pop-ups, but here's the deal: you are not your target market. Like, a real estate agent doesn't buy your house from another real estate agent usually. Like, you are not your customer, and like most of the times, customers don't care. I have a site that gets a little bit over 15,000 visits per day, and I'm testing these things on. And from the time I implemented pop-ups, my stats didn't change at all. And the returning visitors, there was just as many. The bounce rate was exactly the same, etc. So actually, if you look at the statistics, people didn't really care.
Awesome. What's the name of that site, Gael?
Healthambition.com. It's absolutely not real estate, but.
Health Ambition.
Yeah, .com.
Oh, that's cool. I like health. Maybe I'm sure many of the people watching this, would like to be healthy. But yeah, I'm going to check that out.
The argument was test it on your audience, and I'm pretty sure, and I've tested on several sites, especially clients and stuff. I'm pretty sure that you'll be fine. And if you look at all the big players, like go on Expedia, there are pop-ups. Go on Amazon, there are pop-ups. Go on like all these sites that make billions, they use pop-ups,
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Good stuff. All right, so I think that pretty much covers it, wouldn't you say, as far as the fundamentals, about kind of, selecting your niche. We talked about links. We talked about those 3 strategies, Google Local, the citations. That was a great resource you mentioned. I'm going to check that out. That BrightLocal.com sounds really good. A lot of people think Google Plus is kind of dead, or it's like a ghost town, but I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I really like Google Plus. I think that it's got some value there if people just kind of, put some work into it.
I mean, for local is different. The thing is, like Google Places pages are now on Google Plus, right? So you actually need to optimize these if you want to do well on local search. So, as a social network, it can be good, not in every niche. Like, if you're in a small niche and there's really very, very few people, I would maybe skip it. But if you're ever trying to do well in local search, you need to be on there.
Yeah, awesome. All right, sounds good. Here, you covered a lot of the basic fundamental things. I think that's really what it comes down to, is just kind of setting up that fundamental internet presence, getting some links, driving traffic to it, and making sure that you have everything in place. Like you said, an autoresponder that you can capture these leads. You can use a pop-up, follow up with these customers and clients in the future, and just watch the numbers grow. Measure, with Google Analytics. Is there anything that we missed in the shuffle here, or are those like just the fundamental pillars of internet traffic for the most part?
Yeah, these are not necessarily the most complicated things, but I'm pretty sure if I take any real estate search result on Google, I'm going to open the sites, and half of them are going to look like absolutely horrendous and not apply these things. So if you are able to just apply these things, you're already ahead of the curve, So I think obviously there is more advanced stuff, but if you don't have that already, don't even think about getting more advanced. Just get that done,
Right. No, I totally agree. Well, you realize what you just did, Gail, is you totally opened the door to invite yourself back on here for a second interview. Now we'll have to talk about advanced strategies in a second interview.
Sure, anytime.
I say that to all my experts whenever they start to say anything along the lines of that. I say, well, now I have to have you back on the show. You have to talk about advanced techniques now. But
the thing is, like, most people still are not implementing the basics, and that's why I actually usually hold it back, because giving advanced tactics to people that have not done the basics is actually doing them a disservice. So usually I only open it up to the people that actually have it done first,
right.
The basics first.
Yeah, I totally agree. Awesome. Okay, so. Well, tell us more about some of the awesome stuff that you do, how you help people. Where can people go to learn more about you?
Okay, so there's several areas, there's several places where you can learn more about us, because we do online marketing, but we do it in different ways. In terms of like free knowledge and free stuff, there is a lot of information on authorityhacker.com. And it's basically me writing about all these tactics. A lot of advanced stuff there as well. Not all of it is applicable for real estate agents, but a lot of the conversion tactics are absolutely applicable. For example, I talk about things like, which I didn't necessarily have time to talk about today, but things like content upgrades with extra downloadable content for whatever you create as a resource and collecting leads from that and so on. So there are several tactics that can absolutely be applied by real estate agents. In terms of like, if people were interested in like working with us, we actually still have a team that takes care of clients over on growthpulse.com. So growthpulse.com. We still have a little team that actually does a bunch of local SEO. We've done quite a bit. So if you want to talk about that. And to get back on Authority Hacker, if you like what you heard today, there's a bunch of like free tactics that we give in video tutorials. If you sign up for the email list, there's about 3 hours of content if you sign up. So we've had really good feedback on that. So yeah, that's basically it.
Nice. That was great, Gail. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for coming on the show today and sharing all of those golden nuggets. I think those are some great strategies. So, like you said, you really kind of solidified what people need to do, establishing the fundamentals of, getting your internet presence out there, and taking some of those first baby steps to watching those numbers and those visitors to your website, watching them grow. So, yeah. Thank you very much, and talk to you soon, Gail. That's it for today. I hope you have a nice holiday. I'll probably check back with you, if I don't talk to you sometime, maybe by Christmas, have a happy New Year, and maybe we can kind of, reconnect possibly after the holidays. I hope that Santa Claus is really good to you if you celebrate that holiday.
Yeah, we do. We do. We don't have Thanksgiving here in Europe, but we have Christmas.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, everybody, go check out Gael's website. Implement everything that he just said. Get back to me and let me know how it works out for you. I'd really be curious to see how these strategies help you. If you're seeing improvements or if you're seeing those increased visitors to your website, please contact me and give me some feedback and let me know what your thoughts were on this video. I feel pretty confident that if you just do what Gael said, that it will help bring more internet traffic to your website. And you will see over time, you will see more clients calling you, so you can help them buy or sell a house, or if you have a product or a service that you're trying to sell. I feel pretty strongly that the stuff that Gael mentioned today, that will be quite beneficial for you if you implement it into your business model. So thanks a lot for joining us here today. Check us out on the next module here at Lead Generation University. And again, let me know how it worked out for you. Thanks. Enjoy the rest of your day, and take care, folks. Bye, Gael.
Bye.